Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, welcome to another week, another episode of the Medicine Ball Podcast. You could have chosen to spend your time anywhere. You rock with me today. Thank you. I never take that lightly. Before we get into it, let my beat drop. Yes, that's right. Welcome to Medicine Ball with your boy S3 to be exact. And if you ain't in shape, at least your brain should be. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Medicine Ball Podcast, where we focus on giving your brain a six-pack by exercising your mind. Now, exercising your mind means that you actively think about and deal with all situations by first seeking to do anything other than what you are normally programmed and or comfortable in doing. Now, if you're someone who struggles and wants to get better at thinking about things beforehand, as opposed to reacting in ways that require less effort, well, just like anything you want to get better at, it does require training, practice, and work. Now, I'm well aware that thinking about things beforehand as opposed to responding off instinct does require effort. And who doesn't prefer things that are easy? Well, the first step, my friends, can be very easy, and that's to begin to look at all things from an unbiased point of view, which in itself will increase your curiosity in life. Now, exercising your mind won't give you all the answers. You will, however, begin to look at things with more peace, understanding, and patience, while simultaneously equipping yourself with more tools and strategies to help you effectively deal with this thing called life. Now, before we go any further, I'm no doctor, no psychiatrist, no psychologist. I have, however, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder level 1 for 16 years. And to be honest, I got to a point in my life where I was looking at the person I was becoming versus the person I wanted to be. And that, among other things, required me to look at my mental health responsibly. So whether or not you're diagnosed or know someone who's diagnosed or have symptoms or just want to know more about it, it doesn't matter. Maybe you're one of the many people who could just use some tips, tricks, and different ideas to help you get through day-to-day life. Pull up a seat, kick up your feet. ELE, everybody love everybody. This is your home, no judgment zone. Welcome to Medicine Ball. I appreciate you. This week's episode, Season 3, Episode 4. Atlas. Yeah. Let's get right into it. So, update. So the merchandise situation, everybody has been requesting it to the point to really, I'm already sold out of the order that I'm still waiting on. It's been a frustrating situation, but I'm dealing with somebody who's like a personal friend as well. And I try to be like real empathetic, which is going to go more into this episode, but no excuses. That's on me. The merch will be here. I stuck to a plan to set up and shoot the live versions of my podcast as I'm recording, so you can see Mamba, see my animations and all of that, but it just doesn't make any sense. For me, I'm waiting on the merch. I apologize to you, those of you who are waiting. My goal, followers on Instagram, I think I'm at like 33 to 3,500 followers on Instagram, and that's Medicine Ball LS and then the number 3, Medicine Ball LS and then the number 3, Medicine Ball LS3. That's my Instagram. That's pretty much everything. That's my website, www.medicineballls3.com. Please join the newsletter. The newsletter has been receiving updates as we, even as we speak. And the YouTube guy works in amazing ways. And she doesn't know yet, but I'm gonna shout her out. I think it's Minute with Mila, Mila. She's actually somebody that I know, and, it just worked out through some music and something that she was doing. We linked back up, and she's very, very successful with the YouTube. So I'm going to make some beats for her and try to work with her, pay her for whatever she requires, but she's proven she has the YouTube plaques and all of that. So I haven't forgot about y'all. I'm letting God work his magic. Don't want to take on too much. We don't want to take on too much or start feeling ourselves when good stuff starts happening, man. Yo, this is probably going to feel like the closest thing to a sermon. I'm not claiming that, but like the way that it lines up. Atlas, Atlas. But I put a T at the end of it for at last. And, this will be the last time that I have all of these episodes and ideas that go together and could be a series, and I don't properly like plan it, promote it, and frame it as a series. So I'm growing, I'm learning. I love that I'm going through these experiences, whether they're failures or successes, but I guess you could call it kind of a level up series, like season 3, these whole top 5 episodes, because next week's episode, I already have the name, the idea, the theme. That will be the last of this mini series, the level up series. So I'll definitely make sure I'm more organized next time that I put something like this together. And just to circle back, I said something about my Instagram goal. The goal was 5,000 And I know that's a hefty number, especially with mental health, but that all of this stuff kind of goes exactly into what we're talking about. So let me start with Atlas, just the ATLAS, Atlas. And for those of you, I'm showing my age, who didn't have to read this or at least know something about this coming through high school with the language arts, literature, and whatnot. It's a Greek story about a Titan. And I'm not going to get too far into the details, just enough for you guys to get the drift. But Titans are abnormally large human beings. They were giants. They were giants. They were super big, and they were giants. And Atlas, particular, if you can remember, was known for a few things. One of the main things is he was a protagonist against Hercules. That was one of the main things. Another thing that I learned upon doing more research, which I didn't know, is Atlas was actually, and they used this particular phrase, these two words, on multiple sites, multiple places I went to look. He had deadly wisdom. He was so wise, it was deadly. And I just kind of imagine that as being like too smart for your own good, but deadly wisdom. And he was also known as the founder of astronomy as well. So dealing with the stars and whatnot. So Titan, with his deadly wisdom, decided that he was going to lead a coup, which is a takeover of Mount Olympus, where the gods are. Right. So him and his brother, and I'm just kind of speeding through so we can get to it. But him and his brother basically went towards Mount Olympus, where Zeus and all of them were, and they lost. Right. They were lost. And Zeus condemned Atlas to stand at, I think it was the west or the east, but I'm not sure. But the west, I will say, and hold up the earth on his shoulders. Or in some versions, they say, hold the heavens up on his shoulders. So if you've ever seen that artwork painting, or not painting, well, they have paintings as well, but sculptures of the guy who's holding the globe on his back, that's Atlas. So just piggybacking off of that. So that was the story. He tried to go against the gods and he lost, and that was his punishment, to hold the world on his shoulders. So of course, you know me, I'm into learning what the names mean. And as I looked at the names, I saw that, you know, on multiple places, to carry, to prop up. But later on in history, it became a definition, or the name became aligned with a collection of maps, right? Or usage with maps. So let's keep all of that in mind. Atlas. Why did I name this At Last, which I added the T on? Well, I'm going to use my particular situation first. If you've been following the podcast, not just my job, but along with the podcast, the music, and other situations, I feel like I have been beyond blessed with God, and that I've been taken to the next level. And, you know, when you get to a next level, or a level that you've been trying to accomplish your whole life, it can almost feel like, at last, I'm here. Like, that's the end of it, right? I mean, I know that's how, like me and my situation with the job and everything, I multiple times find myself being like, man, I finally made it. Or with my financial situation, right? I finally made it. My living situation, my podcast, my stability, my discipline, working out, eating. I finally made it. And I catch myself often. Now, with my particular situation, I briefly mentioned it on the last podcast, but the vaccine. So I mentioned that I was probably going to get the vaccine. Well, surprise, I got the vaccine last Saturday. I got the vaccine. And I didn't want to get the vaccine at all. Like, and I get this from my father. I grumbled out of the house and even to myself the whole ride going to get the vaccine, and still got it. And the reason was because it was bigger than me. I can't tell people to be safe or tell these stories about my grandparents, or just be a leader in general, especially amongst African Americans, if I'm not willing to do things that make sense logically and stand out from the crowd and take a risk and be willing to have the courage to put myself out there. Number one, for getting the vaccine after everybody, a lot of people are joking on it. And number two, what it could do to my body. So I got the vaccine, and we'll get more into this. And the first day, I just kept going. So I literally got it. And that very same day, my grandmother, they finally opened up her home. So she had been talking about wanting to see Mamba. I go home, I get Mamba, I go straight over to my grandmother's. And then from there, I believe I went downtown to try to handle some. I just kept going. Now, along with this, I'm doing my workout. So if I'm not running, I'm using the resistance bands or doing some type of cardio. And I just keep going, right? My sister's in town during this time, And, she has a vaccine and everything. But like, so family's around and, I'm interacting with them on top of the job. So Sunday gets here. I do my church. I attend the after church meeting. I'm joining us, again, taking on the world, financial university, which is being done through my church. My pastor of that church was a guy who's very good in the financing and investment business prior to being at the church. So he wrote a book. I was like, why not support? This is my way to support. But I did church. I did that. I think I worked out pretty hard at home at the bare minimum. I don't think I left because that weekend. So a matter of fact, this was Sunday. So I think my sister might have got here on Friday. Sunday, I had some more of my family over, some more of my sisters, my nieces and nephews. So because of that, I think I chose to work out at home and just hang out with them and all of that. Sunday night, Monday gets here and I wake up and I can't even remember. I didn't go out and party or anything, but maybe I stayed up watching TV or something like that. I know I got a new TV that needed to be mounted, and that was a big deal since my man knocked over my TV that was just, accessible. I got one and I mounted it. So I don't know what happened Sunday, but Monday I woke up and it might have been actually Sunday evening I started feeling it because I can't see any other reason that I would just be like, hey, I'm going to sit here and relax other than, I felt like I needed to rest. Monday, man, I woke up and the reason I said I don't know what I did Sunday is because it felt like I had partied and just like tired, like super tired, like not hungover, but just like droopy eye tired. And my body just felt fatigued and I was irritable. I didn't have a headache or anything, but I had chills. So me thinking I, got it figured out, or I'm tough. I'm, especially my sisters and my nieces and nephews being around. I'm just like, man, I got to tough through it. Like I eat good. I eat salads. I think I might have even drank an extra smoothie. I was like, I'm working out. Like, what's going on? So I was trying to fight through it and I get to work dealing with supervisor duties and mentally it was just a lot on me. That plus my regular day to the point where like I got off of work and my sister's a trash talker, bro. Like sometimes like at my age and now, especially, as I've become more self-aware and just pay more attention to it, like she is straight up and down trash talker, right? Like to the point where she gonna say something to me. Like I think I got off Monday, right? And I was like, man, I'm just tired. And she was like, cause I work from home. She was like, you sit at home all day. And I was like, maybe mentally. Now, I didn't think about it at that time, but I had thought that it was on me. I tried to take responsibility. I was like, I'm not sleeping right. Maybe I'm finagling. Blah, 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 blah. So I go through it. I don't even, I think I walked Mamba that day, right? A light jog, maybe about a mile. I ate, and then I was like, man, I'm going to try to get to bed on time, early, if anything. But I had stuff to do with the podcast, et cetera, et cetera. So I think I got to bed okay. And just to speed it up for you guys here, like today is literally the first day since last Sunday that I even feel a little bit like myself. So this whole week I went through it, and it wasn't until Wednesday when I was like, man, let me go look up like what's going on with these side effects. Oh yeah, chills, yeah, fatigue, body, agitate, irritable. Oh, dag, the vaccine. And so with that happening, with my body feeling like that, and me especially right now trying to take my religion and spiritual relationship with God to the next level, like I had made it a point to pray more often. And I started praying for just like calmness of mind, thankfulness for health, forgiveness for complaining and whining and being agitated. Like it even agitates me to know I get agitated so easily sometimes. And especially with my job, a lot of just corporate things I don't have to get into, but it was just like mentally drawing to have conversations with people virtually, right? And, me being a male, and this, it's not a problem, but it's female dominated. Like these people are coming from a female and I'm a little bit maybe more direct, or, things can be misconstrued. It was just that. And as I'm praying to God for just guidance through all of that, it came upon me like, man, you thinking too highly of yourself, bro. You're taking too much on trying to stay till 8 o'clock to do all this extra stuff for your job when you really just a whirlwind. And my boss told me like, yo, it's probably gonna take you a year to get right at this position the way they rock it. But me just trying to be a man and et cetera, feeling myself too much, getting all these new opportunities, whether it be people contacting me on Instagram, the YouTube situation. People are actually offering to do the merchandise for free now, and financially getting more incomes of money. And, even with the money thing, and it's crazy. And it just comes back to being aware. But even from that aspect, I told you guys, I looked at my check. So I finally got my first salary check. And to be transparent, I was working so much overtime. Like, the difference is not mind blowing at all. But it is a difference. Because I found myself with just the money aspect getting crazy with it. Like, just a few years ago, I was the guy who was overdraft fee every single, cycle of my money, not knowing where it was really going. And now, like, I got savings, multiple savings. I got money in stocks. I got money over here. I got money over there. And it's just like, bro, why don't you be happy for that? And then I started thinking about, Atlas, and, God works it out. Atlas, I'm taking on too much. I'm putting the world on my shoulder. I'm going against God because I'm feeling myself. I'm not giving God the glory. I'm actually going against him, trying to take it on myself when leaning on him and walking with, I don't even want to say with, below, trying to follow his word. Be righteous. Listen and go where he guides me. That's what got me here. Why would I all of a sudden be like, I could take it on myself? That is a war against God. And on top of that, I have to constantly reassess, rethink about my situation. Like, man, a year ago, I would be praying for the situation I'm in, and I'm here, and I'm not thankful enough. I'm not even enjoying it and learning and accepting it the way. And I'm not saying I'm going, hey, God, forget about you. It's on me now. But just in my actions and the way that I'm living and operating, it wasn't trusting God. I was going against God. I wasn't being satisfied. I was greedy. The devotionals that I was reading every day about, Proverbs is starting to become my favorite. But just like, yo, hey, hello, bro, don't think that you need more than, you see what I mean? I wasn't satisfied. So I had to go back and evaluate, because what happened is the vaccine, in a way, right during this time where I'm getting all these increases of power, because that's what the story Atlas is about. He wanted to take over Mount Olympus for power. It wasn't for money, really, but they'll say money is power, but it was for power. It's the feeling of conquering and overcoming something that's hard. That can become something that's bad for you. Like, yo, bring the next challenge on so I can just smash it. So I wanted to use my situation, but there's things that we do every day that are similar to Atlas, going against, even if, God, and it's just crazy because, and I say this often, even doing these shows, and as I talk about it in research, I learn more. I become more aware of where I'm going wrong and things of that nature. But in our own ways, if you're a religious person, we go against God. We get leveled up. We go to that next level. And then we start to just take everything on our shoulders. And we don't even realize we're doing it because we're thinking for ourselves as opposed to what got us there, right? We don't realize we're doing it. And there might be some level of success in some of the things that you're doing. And that's even worse. I think it's almost better to when you start, get to feeling yourself that you fail immediately. Because if you get one or two successes, then it's going to blind out the other failures, and it can be worse. So this happens in our life, especially if you're someone who, let's just say for the sake of medicine ball, dedicated a goal, right? We'll take religion out of it. You had a goal, and discipline got you there. Like, yeah, you got to the goal by sticking to a plan, but a plan is small little things that are executed with discipline consistently. That will get you your goal. So what happens is the vaccine for me was a blessing in disguise, because I put the weight of the world on my shoulder. And I might be thinking too much into it, but I think kind of God was like, yo, okay, cool. Let me shake you up. Let me give you a punishment. You want all of this power. You want to continue to seek. You don't want to, stick with what got you here, which is him, God, and following him along. Let me put this world on your shoulder. And it slowed me down enough to think about this and realign my goals and how I look at things. Now, it's okay to go to the next level. There's nothing wrong with seeking excellence, you know what I mean? And leveling up, getting more money, getting a better job, a better situation, a better livelihood. It's nothing wrong with that. But I think where we often get caught up is we don't stop and realize like what we had to do to get there, and that there's something to be learned. There are things in your current situation that you have to be able to consistently overcome. Like even with me at work, like I like to consider myself a laid back, non-angry, non-agitated guy in the right situations, right? Because little stuff agitates me. But in the right situations, and even as I'm having interactions with people in a different situation that's more stressful and I have to be more strategic about it, I'm not even stopping to be like, hey, God, help me, or hey, I'm not going to be good at this right now. I'm just like, man, I'm not good. There's something wrong with it. No, that's not it. And so, like I said, it's okay to level up, but we have to do a couple of things to make sure that, number one, we realize that, hey, we just went through a lot to get to this level. What makes us think like that we just going to automatically get to this one and overcome everything? No, stunted growth. You have to go through it and know that there's something to be learned and know that it's going to take time. So I don't want to keep you guys too long because I'm pushing through it with the grace of God that I was feeling good today. But I need to go ahead and wrap it up. I got things I got to take care of, as I'm sure you guys do. So I just want to give you 3 things to think about in order to avoid having to be punished like Atlas. When you get there at last, 3 things so you don't get punished like Atlas, because the weight of the world on his shoulders literally was his punishment. And when we do that to ourselves, it's going to break us down and crumble us eventually. 3 things. Number 1. Align with and not against. Me, spiritual God. Align with God. Even in this story, you shouldn't have went against Mount Olympus. Align with and not against, especially if we're talking about something that got you there in the first place, right? Think about that. Be aware. Like I said, with me, it's God. It's a spiritual relationship. I need to lean on him even more. Understand that I'm probably going to go through more trials so he could test my faith and see where I'm at and try to learn something out of it. Number 2, and it piggybacks off of that one. I know this is going to sound crazy in today's world, but you got to know when to be satisfied, right? You got to know when to be satisfied. Even if you're taking on all these challenges and these new experiences that are taking you to the next level and things of that nature, you have to know when to be satisfied and to enjoy it. Because the biggest thing that I feel like in life that is the most valuable, but people won't tell you, and everything else centers around people trying to seek this, is peace and peace of mind. And satisfaction is equal to peace and peace of mind. When you're constantly, conquering challenges and faking things, that's a stressful situation, period. Like, no matter what you're doing, people with $1 billion not kicked up, they have to follow their money and say it's a different level of problems. You know what I mean? So you got to learn to be satisfied at least for a little bit of time, because satisfaction is a peace of mind. And I'm not talking complacency. I'm talking being satisfied, getting to enjoy it, getting to, look at things from different perspectives. Like, man, this is challenging, but, let me see how I can get through it and what strategies work that, can overcome it. Because the things that you learn on each level, you have to learn them and then start going towards the next level of how things operate before you get there. We talked about that on the last one. So number 2, be satisfied. Number 3, constantly evaluate. You can call it whatever you want. Daydream, think about something, reminisce, try to analyze. It's nothing wrong with that. As long as you, and again, I always say this, it depends on where you are mentally. If you're in the peanut gallery, you might not want to self-assess too much because it might take you down a path of thoughts and ideas that you're not ready for yet. But if you are kind of self-aware, it's okay to self-analyze and self-assess healthily. Not to the point where you're getting down on yourself, but just, what do I want to change about myself based on these situations or things that have happened? And how can I change it? And also realizing that, and I have to do this constantly, when it comes to new things and new ideas, just because you go to the next level, you about to fail. I mean, failure is part of life. That's where the lessons come from. Realizing that there's beauty in the failures, though. I told y'all my favorite Jay-Z line, or one of them. I will not lose because even in defeat, there's a reasonable lesson learned, so it evens it up for me. Bars. That's 3 things to avoid taking the weight of the world on your shoulder. Ended up like Atlas. Align with and not against. I'm talking about God Almighty. Because his ideals and his righteous ways and following the path and the wisdom that he sets forth is what got me here. Number 2, be satisfied. Satisfaction is equal to inner peace and peace of mind. Enjoy it. Enjoy the struggles. I know it sounds weird, but there's a lesson in there. Number 3, constantly evaluate and self-assess in a healthy fashion. Not beat up on yourself, but just, again, see based on a set of situations and circumstances what you can do to have outcomes and things turn out in a way that's more preferable to you. Season 3, episode 4, at last. Yo, I believe in y'all. I know y'all are getting these opportunities. You face them every day, depending on how you look at it. Avoid putting the world on your shoulders. Get the lesson and realize that failure is a part of learning. It will get you there. That's it for this week's episode. Next week's episode 5, is going to be called Heavy is the Head. We'll get into that more. That's going to be end of this middle level up series. Follow me on all my networks. So that's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of that. It's the same. Medicine Ball LS3, Medicine Ball LS and the number 3. I'm trying to get to 5,000 on Instagram. Please help me get there. Check the website, subscribe to the newsletter. The merch is coming, hell or high water. I promise y'all I'm going to get the merch. Yo, if you think you've gone as far as you can go, there's nothing else you can do. There's no other options. You've exhausted every option. You put your effort forth in every situation. There's nothing else to do. You stop believing in yourself. Maybe you doubt yourself, your situation. I'm here to tell you, I believe in you, man. Hold your head. I promise you. If you have followed this podcast, all my stories, I try to let y'all see that on the other side of your breakthrough, on the other side of that pain, that hardship, that persecution, is what you've been waiting for. Keep your head up. Please push forward one more day. Until next week, this is the end. Season 3, episode 4, at last. I love y'all. Stay up. Keep your head up. Yeah.